What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, Georgia. And it is in the news right now because former President Donald Trump and his 18 co-defendants could be booked into this jail, and it is like a humanitarian issue. Like, no one should be booked into that jail. No one should be at that jail. Regardless of how you feel about Trump or any of the inmates at this jail, no one should have to work in that facility and no one should live in that facility. 7 people have died this year alone at the Fulton County Jail. And that jail might sound familiar to you because it was featured on 60 Days In. Before we get into it though, if you're new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has in fact been to prison. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel, my podcast, my Facebook page, and we are now officially on Roku, channel 548, I think. I should know that off the top of my head. It's new. I'll get used to it. The show is called More Than My True Crime Story, and I will leave all of the information in the description box of this video. All right, without further ado, let's kick this thing off. So I don't watch the news because like it's really heavy and depressing, and it just seems very propaganda-ish. So when I clicked on Google just now to kind of pull up some statistics and all of that, I like literally just noticed that Trump could be booked into that jail. Like, I knew he was getting indicted, but I just haven't been following it because my brain hurts and my mental health just, no. The news is just way too much for me right now. So is the internet. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the Fulton County Jail for a long time, and nothing about this is funny. I just wanted to start off with a lighthearted thing because it's just all downhill from here. I'm going to start with Nurse Naya on TikTok. She's done a series on the Fulton County Jail, and I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. Well, her videos popped up for me and reminded me of it. So I would like to share a couple of her videos and react to them and then give my input.
Another inmate at the Fulton County Jail has died. Christopher Smith, age 34, was found unresponsive in a medical unit cell by an officer. Medical personnel resuscitated him, and he was later brought to Grady Hospital where he died. He was being held without bond since October 2019 for a number of things that are not great. However, he
was 34.
6th inmate to die this year. 15 died last year, and in the past 20 months, 21 inmates have died. And if you were wondering, yes, this is the same Fulton County Jail that was featured on A&E, the show 60 Days In, where they participated in the show allegedly to make Fulton County Jail a safer place for inmates and staff. Yeah, right. Last September, LaShawn found dead in his cell, pretty much covered in bedbugs and neglected to death. He had allegedly, according to reports, untreated schizophrenia, and he was in a psychiatric wing. We know what that means when you're in jail. His family just received a $4 million settlement. However, we can see that they were just throwing money at the problem because nothing at the Fulton County Jail has changed. Monte Stinson, 40, was found unresponsive in his cell and was unable to be resuscitated. He died. Stinson was arrested by the Atlanta Public Schools Department for a second-degree burglary charge. He was booked on October 3rd. $3,000 bond. In July, Noni Batiste Kasoko was found dead in her cell. According to her family, she suffered from mental health issues. According to reports, staff had no idea that Batiste was experiencing any sort of trouble until dinner rounds when she was found face down and unresponsive. According to reports, her former cellmate said that she would wake up to the sounds of her cellmate, Noni Batiste, slamming her head against the cinder block walls of the cell. According to her former cellmate, Noni was also dealing with hearing voices in her head, and she believes that her auditory hallucinations were being ignored by staff. I worked in a jail, and I've seen people.
I want to pause it here. She was 19 years old. Like, you're a baby. I mean, I know you're an adult at 19, but 19, just that little bit of her story resonates with me so hard because if you guys remember a couple of years ago, my friend Michael Shimahorn he died. He died in the New York Department of Corrections. And, you know, they investigated it and did an autopsy and all of that, and they determined that he died from self-inflicted trauma to his head. They said he was in a fight, he was put in segregation, and they said that he was, you know, banging his head against the cinder blocks. You know, and we'll never know. We'll never know if that's true. But hearing that just like, it makes me so crazy because we don't know what happened. But one thing that I know for sure about prison is that it is so fucking hard on your mental health. And if you already have mental health issues and you're put in segregation, oh my God. Michael passed away from an aneurysm, they said. But could that have happened from him smashing his head against the wall? Because they did say that, I believe this is right, they did say that there was a mark on his forehead from a cinder block kind of a situation. They could tell from the autopsy. What's even worse about that is that at his funeral, he was so skinny. He was so skinny. It is so disgusting that people go into jail and they don't survive because of the staff negligence, because of the facility having bed bugs. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's no reason why this should be happening at all. And I know that a lot of people are going to say like, you shouldn't have broken the law. The facility is breaking the law. The staff is breaking the law. You have a right to fair treatment. You have a right to not face cruel and unusual punishment like bed bugs. And it is not the staff's job to punish you. You should not be living in unclean conditions. We have rights, even as inmates, we have rights. And this is not okay. I had to pause because when I heard that she had smashed her head against the wall, it reminded me of Mikey, and God, that sucks so bad.
And I've seen people who work there think that it is their job to make an inmate's life miserable based off of the charges that they're there for. They don't know if they're innocent, they don't know if they're guilty. But if they see a charge that makes them feel some type of way, they will make sure to not give them the treatment that they deserve as a human being. Now, I know what a lot of people will say. Oh, Nurse Naya, you're just on this app for clout. You don't really care about these people. But I do. Because you can go to jail and not be guilty of anything. That is extremely scary. Not saying that if you are guilty, you deserve horrible treatment. But some people think that if you do the crime, you do the time, and whatever comes with that comes with that. If I want to pick and choose who I provide care to, then I will be a private duty nurse. There are plenty of positions for that. Treat patients who need you. You don't get to pick and choose who you want to advocate for. No, that's not how that works.
Okay.
If you need me as a nurse and it is safe for me to perform patient care, I will do it. If it is not safe, I will not do it. Period. The end. Over.
I love her. The Washington Post just put out this article, and I wanted to read a little bit of it. It says, Trump and his 18 co-defendants in a sprawling racketeering case have until August 25th to surrender to authorities in Atlanta, and unless plans change, be booked at Rice Street, the notorious Fulton County Jail. So are they going to fix it up now because Trump might go there? Like now it matters? It didn't matter before. Just trying to figure it out. There have been ongoing problems with overcrowding in the jail, along with violence, overflowing toilets, faulty air conditioning. The sheriff called the environment a humanitarian crisis. Last month, when the Justice Department opened an investigation after an inmate was found dead, covered in bed bugs and lice. And the building is falling apart, a point the sheriff tried to illustrate to county leaders by collecting hundreds of weapons made from chunks of crumbling walls and loading them into 4 wheelbarrows and rolled them into a public meeting. Like, I love it. I love it. I would do the same shit. Like, it's not a problem. The walls are falling apart. They're making weapons from the walls. Like, here you go. Here's 4 wheelbarrows. I would have dumped them on the ground. We probably shouldn't do that.
You'll
wow.
See in these wheelbarrows are shanks.
I would dump them on
Right
the floor.
now, they total over 1,100 shanks. These are pieces of the building that have been ripped apart, fashioned into knives, fashioned into deadly weapons. Now, one of the things I want to do, and I want to thank Commissioner Hall, I want to work with Bureau of Arts and Cultural Affairs and commission some artwork at some point out of these building parts. Obviously, we can't use them anymore. And then start taking that around to some of the schools, make it mobile, put it in a space that we can show people what happens inside jails. We've had conversations about the number of individuals that have been assaulted in the facility. Again, the letter to the Bureau of Justice asking for assistance. But these are building parts that constantly get ripped apart.
Jesus. The article goes on to say that 7 inmates have died at the jail so far this year, with few publicly available details other than some were found unresponsive and rushed to the hospital before dying, according to local news reports. That includes a 66-year-old man being held on a shoplifting charge who was found unresponsive in a medical unit cell on Thursday morning and died. A lot of people can get lost inside of these walls, and some never make it out alive, as we have seen recently. Activist Marcus Coleman said that Rice Street is a gladiator school for youth. A report from the county medical examiner said the cause of death was undetermined, according to Thompson's attorneys, but an independent autopsy reportedly paid for by former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick concluded that Thompson died of neglect. Earlier this month, Fulton County commissioners approved a $4 million settlement with Thompson's family, according to the meeting documents. So let's just pay off this family, just here's a bunch of money, go away, and just hope that we just move on, you know what I mean? Hope that everyone just stops talking about it. That seems to be the only good outcome when people are found dead in jail, is they might, maybe, if they're lucky, their family might get a settlement. But then nothing changes, policies don't change. They'll throw money at the jail and say, oh, we have all this camera equipment now. Oh, we have safe procedures now. And people move on and they forget about it. And there's no proof of where that money actually goes. And unfortunately, so many people in society think, you're just wasting taxpayer money by committing crimes. Stop it. Stop it. Do you know how many industries are led by inmates? How many products inmates make? Do you understand for-profit prisons? So stop with that argument, do some research. I get it, taxes are ridiculous, but it's not inmates' fault that taxes are ridiculous. And there are some people that really do believe it should just be as miserable as possible so that you don't go back. But if misery and trauma and abuse and neglect curbed recidivism, we would not lead the world in incarceration. So I don't want to fucking hear it. I give a shit about people that get arrested and don't make it out. I give a shit about the people that get arrested and make it out and they have PTSD and trauma. It matters to me. Prison reform is one of my biggest passions and I get so fucking worked up over it. So don't come over here talking about if you can't do the crime, don't do the time. We did the time. We did the time. Some of us survived and some of us didn't. Our sentence was not death, usually. I mean, I know that death penalty's a thing. You know what I'm saying? The penalty was not neglect, abuse, trauma, harm. That was not the sentence. The sentence was time. We pay back society with our time. That's how we take responsibility for a crime that we committed. We serve time. Anyway, I don't know if any of that made sense. If we know this place is not fit for humans to live there, we should accept that any human being would suffer. That could be a former elected official or a man that sleeps on the park outside of your door. And I've never heard, I have cold chills. I've never heard a more true sentence. It could be a former president, mayor, congressman, governor, or a homeless person sleeping outside. Anyone could get arrested at any time. And they deserve to have clean living conditions, food that is not marked not for human consumption, in facilities that are fit for humans. Dying because you're neglected so badly that you're covered in bed bugs, untreated with mental health issues, or even starved. That is not okay. As someone that has been to prison and worked in prison reform and advocacy, working with nonprofit organizations for many years, I can tell you that most people incarcerated are not bad people. They have made mistakes, they have mental health issues, they have substance use disorder, and they never got the help that they needed in the street. Are there some really fucking bad people that should never get out of prison or that need to be there? Absolutely. But it is against the law to abuse, neglect, harm inmates when you're running this facility. It has to be a safe place for the people that you are housing. If we cannot break the law, neither can they. Stop letting them get away with it. Some things that you can do is vote local, because the federal government doesn't have wide sweeping power to change every single state and how it runs and how these jails are run. So vote locally. It's very important. Vote for people that care about prison reform and want to change how their state and local cities run. It's important to vote federally as well, but you know what I'm saying. Get involved with nonprofits. Get involved in advocacy and speaking out about it. It is 2023. There is no reason why this should still be going on in any jail or facility in this country. It's such a huge embarrassment. It's such a just monumental failure, and it has been forever. I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you, because there's no wrong way to recover. Educate yourself on prison reform and how to get involved. And I will see y'all in my next one. Y'all think that Trump's really going to jail? This is really happening. He's really going to jail? I have to read the case. I have to read the whole thing. I should probably turn on the news. That's fucking crazy that a former president is gonna be in jail. What? I have so many questions. Do you lose like Secret Service after that? Because like all presidents have to have Secret Service. So if you're a felon, when you get out, do you still have access to protection like with the Secret Service? I mean, like I know Trump's like rich or whatever, but would he get the same protection? How does that work? Are they gonna write new policies for something like this? Are there already policies? I have so many questions. I have to research this and report back to you guys. Is there a bug? Is that a fly? Oh my God. The fly is a paid actor. Is this a video of it? Oh, after this ad. Oh, God, I hate news articles. Habitat. Human habitation? That sounds weird, right? Am I dumb or does that sound like the weirdest sentence ever?